All right, today's kind of code demonstration is going to be how to bring in Tailwind into an ASP.NET MVC web application. Um, my class, we've talked about this a little bit, and I've mentioned the popularity rise of Tailwind. So if you just kind of throw this out here and let an AI overview, Tailwind CSS is experiencing widespread and increasing adoption across the front-end development ecosystem, with many considering it the dominant framework in 2025, right? And if you kind of look at some of the videos here that it highlights, is Tailwind really the right default? Spoiler alert, his opinion, yes. Why is Tailwind CSS replacing Bootstrap? And that's my understanding, is that Tailwind is kind of the more modern, updated Bootstrap, because Bootstrapping includes styling and the components themselves, whereas Tailwind is really less about the components and more about just the CSS, just the styling. Okay, so if you were to say file new project in Visual Studio Community and you were to spin up a MVC site template, you would see that Bootstrap is integrated, right? So I'm encouraging my class to move on from Bootstrap and kind of upgrade, if you will, to Tailwind. But in order to do that, we're not going to use the MVC template. So if I create a new project, my class has been using either this empty solution or the MVC template. I'm not even saying let's look at the MVC template. Let's do everything from empty, everything from scratch, right? So if you kind of choose your filters of C# and web, that's where you find these different templates. I've used these templates before, so they're on my recent. Yes?
I already made my first project with the template. Should I delete it and then make it empty?
What you already did it with this one?
Yeah.
I would make it from empty. Yep. Yeah, I would definitely start over and make it from empty.
Is that just like a learning experience thing, or like
It is a learning thing, but again, Bootstrap is integrated, so instead of having to strip out all the Bootstrap and then add Tailwind, I just started from empty. That way I don't have to strip out the Bootstrap. Okay.
What do you mean by strip out the Bootstrap?
Well, there's a lot of Bootstrap that's already on this template right here. If you're not starting from empty, like the link to the Bootstrap library, your index CSHTML is going to have a lot of Bootstrap classes on it. Like your layout file has a bunch of Bootstrap nav bars and components on it, right? So your whole site would be a Bootstrap site already. You have to remove all the Bootstrap classes to add in the Tailwind classes. So that's what I mean by strip out the Bootstrap. So I literally have done this 15 times today, so I'm going to be able to do it kind of fast because I've done this so many times just in practice and getting it finalized, getting it working. So I'm just going to call this Tailwind MVC,
Demo.
Tailwind MVC demo, whatever it is. And this is C# or .NET 10, C# 14, I should say. I'm going to leave the checkbox for HTTPS. So we understand that Tailwind is rising in popularity. We understand that it is not the default option for an ASP.NET site. Now, we've kind of covered these basics a little bit yesterday, but it never hurts to see it a couple times. To enable MVC, there's a add controllers with views. So this is the line that essentially enables MVC inside of our .NET Core web application. So that's the first line that we learned to add. Then we have app.use static files, right? Now what that enables is static files to be hosted out of a folder that we need to add the folder for www-root. So we're going to be, okay, but that's what this line does, is it, as I misclick. And then app map controller default route, or map default controller route, okay? And what that does is it sets up the home controller to be my default controller, and it sets up the index method to be my default action method. Okay, and there's a kind of a default routing that's built in here. We're going to learn to change that default routing, but this is default. Okay, so that wires up Program.cs. Now just folder structures. All I'm doing here, I'm going to add some folders. Okay, and here I need a controllers folder. Again, that's where our controllers are going to go, of course. I'm going to add a views folder. Remember, our home controller needs a subfolder under views for home. So I need a home folder underneath views. And because I have a layout file, that layout file goes inside of a folder called shared. So I'm going to add a folder called shared. Okay, so I've created what? 4 folders there. www root, controllers, views, home, and shared. Okay, inside of shared, this is where I'm going to add a new item. And I'm going to search for my layout file. This is a laser layout, underscore layout CSHTML is the file name. And again, that belongs underneath the shared folder. This is my HTML template. Okay, this is my HTML template. You're familiar with this HTML5 bare bones template, right? Now, under home, I need the index view. So I will add a view under home. Just click add. The default name is index. A lot of times the defaults just work. And I'm just going to say h1, welcome to my home page. Okay, so now I've got a layout and I've got an index, but they're not linked together. We have to link together, you know, the index page to use the layout. The way that we link those together is with a view start file. So this belongs as a file underneath views. So I'm going to right click, add a new item here. This is, I'm going to search for view start, razor view start. You can see the default name for these. It's really nice because it's just the convention here is underscore view start. That is correct. And you can kind of see here, it's setting the default layout to be underscore layout. So this file links our layout together with our views. Now our views by default, all of our views will use our layout. I need a home controller. Of course, the request comes into the home controller. This is a default home controller. This is the index method. This is the landing spot for the default requests, right? The default routing will land you here, right? And it simply returns the view inside of the home folder index.html. There we go. Okay, now this should be wired up enough that I should see welcome to my home page. Control F5. And if you're in my class, you saw this process at least once already, and you've probably done it a couple of times. Okay. Now, Anna asked me yesterday, hey, Mr. G, are we going to be using NPM and Node for anything? And I said, we might. And here we are. The next day, we're going to use NPM, and we're going to install Tailwind. If you go to the docs here, and using post CSS, you can say this is a way to install Tailwind with as a post CSS plugin that is the most seamless way to integrate it with frameworks, including ASP.NET in my experience. So you can kind of see the command here is the NPM command. Now, prerequisite, all of you need Node installed. So you need to have Node installed on your computer already. So install Node if you don't. And there's like an execution policy. You might have done this last semester. If you installed Node, you have to go into PowerShell and grant permissions for your terminal to run these scripts. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message. But nonetheless, you need Node installed, and you need the right permissions to run Node scripts or NPM commands. Okay, so that's a prerequisite there. So at this point, I can go to Tools, Command Line Terminal. So there are dependencies that can run on the client, and there are dependencies that can run on the server side. Remember, MVC, some stuff happens on the server, some stuff happens on the client. Node and NPM, this will be a client-side dependency. And I'm going to start out with NPM init, just as we did last semester, /y. Remember, /y is just kind of like the default yes. Just you really don't answer any of the questions. And what that does is it spins up a package.json with kind of the default, nothing really filled in. But that command made this file. Okay, now we can install NPM dependencies. So as the website kind of showed us, the command to install Tailwind, actually I said incorrectly. At one point I was using post CSS. I ended up with this Tailwind CLI. It says this is the simplest and fastest way to get up running a Tailwind CSS from scratch using the Tailwind CLI tool. Okay, so if I look at what I wound up doing, I forgot. I was back and forth using different tools. I wound up recommending this Tailwind CLI. So let's run that command. Now this will bring in node modules. Remember, node modules is a big folder of dependencies that you want to include in your git ignore. So I just want to throw this out there that you guys probably want to update your git ignore to include node modules. So that it doesn't bring that in. And actually, I'm not seeing the node modules there. Yeah, Nia.
So just make sure we do npm init-y and then we do CLI install?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the 2 steps so far. Okay. Now, next step, I'm going to add a CSS folder under www.root. So I'm going to add a new folder. So it's www.root/CSS. And I'm going to create my CSS file here. I'm going to add a new item. I'm going to search for the CSS style sheet. And the name of this does matter because we're going to reference the name of this file here. You know, whatever you want it to be. I name mine site.css. And all I'm going to do on site.css is I'm going to import Tailwind CSS. Now, Tailwind is great because unlike Bootstrap, when you link to Bootstrap, you bring in all of the Bootstrap classes whether you use them or not, right? Tailwind doesn't work that way. Tailwind looks at what you need and it only puts the classes in a compiled or built CSS file that's kind of minified. So Tailwind will make a minified CSS that only brings in the classes that you need. Okay? And the way that I have this set up is I set it up so that every time we do a build, it's going to essentially rebuild that output CSS file. Okay? So that output CSS file, the minified CSS file, every time we do a build, which is included when we click on Start Without Debugging. So what I'm trying to do is every time I start without debugging, I want it to rebuild my minified CSS file. Okay, now I will give you guys this code. The way to set this up is in your project file. This is, notice if I double click the project, notice this is my project file. This is source code for my .NET project. Okay, and so the more you code here, the more, this is XML, the more XML that's generated. There's a chunk of code here, and this chunk of code is a little bit more complex than I originally had it. But we can kind of walk through this, and let me kind of get this all on one screen. And I have this all in a document, so you guys don't have to type this out. But essentially what I just pasted in was this right here. Okay, so it's not a ton of code, but it is a little bit of code. The important thing right here is that notice whenever I build or whenever I'm preparing for publishing, okay, that has to do with deployment. Okay, whenever I build or I prepare for publish, we do an NPM install. That's going to create the node modules. And here we run this Tailwind command, the CLI command that reads my site CSS as the input. And then it outputs a file called output CSS, and it runs with the minify switch. So this is really where the magic happens. Okay, and this happens in 2 times. It happens on build and it happens on as you're going to publish. And it turns out we're going to publish to Azure, but I had to include that here. Okay, so again, there's some very nice benefits that we get for updating this project file. Again, every time we build and every time we prepare to publish, it's going to kind of run this minifying process for us. Okay, so that's on the project. Then there's only one last step. The last step is to actually link on our layout. Like right now, we're not linking anywhere. We have to link to this site CSS file. And the way that we link to a CSS file is with the link tag. This says www.root/CSS/output. Now, obviously, output isn't there yet. That output file is created when we build. Okay, now to test this, I'm going to add a class of text red 600. Right, that's a text class for Tailwind. Should just turn my text red. And I'm going to start by doing a build. And you can see the build succeeded, and it's really nice. You can see that now there's an output CSS file, and here's that minified file. And if I didn't make any mistakes, our text should be red. Welcome to my homepage. Okay, so that's how we're going to link up a MVC site, ASP.NET MVC, to Tailwind using this Tailwind CLI tool. And really, I just followed these steps. Step 1, step 2. Step 3 is the one that was modified so that we do it every time we build. We do this npx command every time we build instead of doing it every time we change something that needs to update that. And notice we link to the output file as well. So really all I did was follow the docs with a slight twist, and that's how you get up and running with Tailwind. Any questions from the class? Awesome.